Hello everybody, what's going on? It is your boy C4 here, and today we're bringing you the top 5 fantasy busts for this upcoming season for the wide receiver position. And what I mean by bust is not necessarily mean they're going to have a terrible season, but bust kind of means that in a way, but it also means these are guys that will probably be overdrafted. That's the main thing, is that some of these guys probably will have poor seasons, but the biggest thing for the bust trend is that they're going to be overdrafted. A lot of people have them highly rated, they're going to drop off. For people that aren't highly informed, they're going to try to make their picks off last year numbers. These guys are going to have big drop-offs. So without further ado, number 5 fantasy wide receiver bust, T.Y. Hilton for the Indianapolis Colts last year. T.Y. Hilton, I'm personally a big fan. He had 1,100 yards, 5 touchdowns, 82 receptions, but that was all because Reggie Wayne was gone. And though Reggie Wayne's not getting any younger, he's still going to be able to walk back in there as the number 1. And T.Y. Hilton's numbers, especially his receptions, and if you're in a PPR league, receptions are something you really need to consider. His receptions are going to drop off. I could actually see them dropping off by 30. He's definitely more of a 900 to. I can even see his yards staying the same because Andrew Luck in that offense is going to be moving a lot. 5 touchdowns is pretty fair, but the receptions are probably going to be cut in half. He's not, he's not a possession wide receiver. He's more of a DeSean Jackson mold who had to really kind of alter his game a little bit and be more open for Andrew Luck to make those easy throws because Reggie Wayne wasn't there. So again, I think there's going to be a little bit of a drop-off for T.Y. Hilton. A lot of people have him as like a top 15 wide receiver. I think he's going to be more in the 25 to 30 range. So do not overdraft this guy. Number 4 is ex-Philadelphia Eagle DeSean Jackson. Last year, DeSean Jackson, 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns, 82 receptions. Gang affiliated. I accepted the move. I understand the move, but I'm still, I don't know. You're going to have to wait in retrospect, in hindsight, and see after the season if it really was that big of a move or not, and if Philly can get some guys that can, pick up his production. But as it stands right now, he's going to the Washington Redskins with, I would say, definitely not as friendly of a system for him to rack up all his yards. Pierre Garçon's truly the number 1 there. DeSean Jackson adds a different element. I'd say RG3 is not as good of a passer as Nick Foles is. And the offense, like I just said, the offense there is not going to be the same as what he had in Philadelphia. He's not going to get nearly as many looks as he did in Philadelphia. Still have a productive season. But, the thing you got to look at DeSean Jackson is before last year with Chip Kelly's offense, I don't think he even broke 1,000 yards. So I can see DeSean Jackson, finishing around that 800, 900-yard mark. Probably 4 or 5 touchdowns, 70 receptions, 60 receptions. He's going to drop off big time. It's all about Chip Kelly's offense. I'm not trying to dish, trying to come off like a bitter Eagles fan. It's just before last year, even as an Eagle fan, DeSean Jackson wasn't really warranting all that money. He's probably one of the most explosive players in the NFL. Very, very awesome weapon, an excellent weapon to have. But his production before last year wasn't always there. Didn't really warrant that big money. And in Washington, Pierre Garçon's the guy. He's the guy that RG3 has chemistry with. I'm not saying it's going to be impossible for DeSean Jackson to break that 1,000-yard mark. He very well could, but his receptions won't be as high, his touchdowns won't be as high, especially with Jordan Reed. I think he's got to eat into a lot of touchdowns, and they're going to run the ball a lot more in the red zone. So DeSean Jackson's stats are going to drop off, so do not overdraft him. Number 3, Roddy White for the Atlanta Falcons. Last year, 13 games started. Had some injury problems, 711 yards, 3 touchdowns, 63 receptions. I think this will be the year Roddy White finally his injuries and his age catch up to him, and Julio Jones really is going to have to carry the load. It's going to be I could actually see a transition here of Harry Douglas, picking up the production, and as opposed to him and Julio and Roddy White being the 1 and 2. I like Roddy White. He's a gritty wide receiver. Almost like a Hines Ward type of mold. Likes getting in there, can make blocks. Very, very solid hands. Excellent route running. But his age is just getting up there. Obviously, he might. This is the kind of guy you got to be wary of. I mean, there's a chance that he gets his numbers back. He's going to be healthy. No Tony Gonzalez. You're going to need to move the ball around a little bit more. But I just personally think this is going to be the year. All wide receivers have an expiry date. And I just have a gut feeling that this is going to be Roddy White's expiry date year. Maybe a lingering injury. Maybe not be able to, stay healthy for all the games again. I'd be very wary about Roddy White. Number 2, Eric Decker. This one's pretty obvious. Going from, the Peyton Manning offense going to an offense in New York that doesn't really have a quarterback yet. No other really good wide receivers around him. Last year, 1,300 yards, 11 touchdowns, 87 receptions. You could very well cut these in half. Those could easily be his stats for New York. I could see, 700 yards, probably more likely 700 to 800 yards. Definitely cut those touchdowns in half. It'll probably be around 5 touchdowns, 60, 70 receptions. He's going to have a major drop-off because, you know, going from Peyton Manning to a Geno Smith, Michael Vick, whoever's going to end up being the starter there, his production's going to suffer. So, you know, let Eric Decker slip. And the number one wide receiver bust you need to keep an eye on is Andre Johnson. I'm a big fan of Andre Johnson, one of my favorite players from a non-biased standpoint. You know, all the contract holdouts, the quarterback situation, all these things considered. His last year, he gets 1,400 yards, 5 touchdowns, 109 receptions. Just too many red flags. Obviously, if you can get him for like a second or third, that'd be ideal. But he's going to be in a lot of mocks and a lot of drafts up around that wide receiver number 1 range. Just not for me. Way too many red flags. That's why he's number 1. Obviously, his production is going to be much higher than I would say all the other 4 guys I've mentioned on this list, because he's still one of the elite wide receivers in the league. But all red flags make me wonder, you got to let this guy draft. Don't be the guy that overdrafts Andre Johnson, because if he holds out and there's contract issues and yada, 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 all the off-field stuff, it's going to be a waste of a pick. So, you know, be very, very, very wary of Andre Johnson. And there you have it, guys. Those are the top 5 wide receiver busts for this upcoming season. As always, make sure you subscribe to Beast Mode TV. Let me know in the comment section below who you think will be the top wide receiving bust. Until next time, guys, it is your boy C4 saying peace out.